Have you heard about Global Poker? Global Poker is the fastest growing card room in the US today, and it's available online at globalpoker.com. Global Poker is a social poker site that offers safe and secure cash-out options by using their unique and patented sweepstakes model. Players can compete in big guaranteed tournaments, jackpot sit-and-goes, or cash games featuring Hold'em, Omaha, and even Crazy Pineapple. Don't wait. Check out Global Poker today.
Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales both on and off the feld.
Hello and welcome to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 85, featuring former World Poker Tour Player of the Year, Faraz Jaka. Faraz has about $11 million in combined live and online tournament earnings, including several notable final tables. He finished second in the WPT Bellagio Cup for $775K and second in the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown for another $455,000. He took third in the PCA main event for $755,000 and third in the WPT 5 Diamond World Poker Classic for another $572K. Faraz also has 6 World Series of Poker final table appearances. Now, there are plenty of poker pros that spend a big chunk of their lives out on the tournament circuit, but Faraz took it to another level with no home base of any kind. CNN actually went so far as to dub him the Homeless Millionaire, as Faraz traveled from stop to stop, eventually paring his life down to just 2 small suitcases. In between high roller events and huge final table scores, Faraz would explore the cities around him, crashing on strangers' couches just as often as he lived it up in 5-star hotels. After nearly a decade of non-stop travel, Faraz took some time off from the grind to launch an online poker site. That project is now behind him, and he's back on the road making more final tables, and this time he's doing it with his wife. He's also started sharing his poker knowledge, teaming up with Card Player columnist Jonathan Little to reveal his secrets of exploitative play for PokerCoaching.com. Right now, you can actually try out that site for just $49, which is half off. Just make sure you visit PokerCoaching.com/Faraz. I think you'll enjoy this one. Faraz is definitely one of the more interesting poker personalities out there. You'll hear the typical degen stories, like how he blew a 6-figure bankroll while he was still in college and had to start all over again. But you'll also hear about his time on the road, including a trip to a Buddhist monastery in Thailand where he didn't speak for 10 days. Anyway, that's enough intro. Here's my conversation with Faraz Jaka. I am here with Faraz Jaka. How you doing?
What's up? Very good. Long time since we spoke.
It's been a while. Yeah, we both grayed out a little bit, or at least in my case, grayed and lost a lot of hair. How you doing?
Good.
You feeling good?
I'm feeling great, yeah. You know, I kind of been out of the playing poker side for the last couple of years, and I just started playing again last year, and I could say I'm fully back into it right now.
Yeah.
So that is fun to kind of be just fully immersed back into poker, kind of recharged.
Yeah, it is. I want to talk about your hiatus in a little bit, but first, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
San Jose, California.
Yep.
You're a Bay Area kid through and through. You're born and raised there.
Yep.
What were you getting into as a child?
So as a child, I was a little bit of a angry, lost child.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard that you were just like a hip hop head.
Yeah,
who
I was a
played
hip
basketball
hop head. Yep,
and
exactly.
wrote like these angsty poems.
Yeah, I used to write poetry, or rap poetry.
Okay.
I was kind of surrounded by, my kind of family, religious circle community, and then at school, it was kind of like the ghetto kids and gangs, and I was kind of like stuck between those two crowds trying to fit in and didn't really fit into either. So was kind of like stuck trying to be someone I'm not. And with that, yeah, you become an, angry kid trying to prove yourself, yada, yada, yada. I found sports and business kind of early on in middle school and high school. And that was basically, a very healthy getaway for me. And I was big into sports. I played track and basketball. I was pretty serious about track, almost ran in college. I did
your Wikipedia page boasts that you ran a 4.5-minute mile.
Yeah, 4:29 mile, 1:59 half mile.
Wow.
And it should have been faster than that. I tore my ligament sophomore year and didn't. I actually had that by sophomore year, so I should have had a few seconds shaved off that. But yeah, I've always been super competitive, and that's just something that's definitely translated into some of my poker success. I'm always the guy at the basketball court that's diving for loose balls and with scraped up knees. And like some poker players will play basketball with me. They're like, damn, you play basketball like you play poker. You're just like trying to find every edge. Yeah.
Hey, if they don't call it, it's not a foul.
Yeah.
Elbowing people in the face.
I play with class. I mean, I'll hook around a little bit and sure, but
I'm sure you have a beautiful Euro step. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But yeah, so kind of lost a little bit there in school, used the sports and stuff as a kind of escape. And then I ended up leaving California, going to University of Illinois, basically on a whim.
Yeah, this is not like, you had family there.
Yeah, no one leaves California. I shouldn't say no one, but it's not common.
Mm-hmm.
Even my counselors are like, why are you leaving California? We have all these amazing schools here.
Yeah.
And
you weren't going to like some Ivy League. You were going to another state school, a good state school.
Yeah. University of Illinois. Well, they had a really good business program, and then they also had a business fraternity called Alpha Kappa Psi, and my brother was in that same fraternity in USC. So I partly wanted to be in that fraternity. It's like a mix of social and business. So you do learn a lot of good stuff. And it was like I think it was like number 2 or 3 party school. So I was like, all right, gonna get to have some fun.
I was about to say,
get a good education, get to do the business fraternity.
You wanted to leave home,
it was really just escaping.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hadn't. So I applied to go to these other schools, and then I ended up not. Decide, okay, I'm gonna stay in California. And, literally summer had started. I had a plan to do like 2 years at a community college and then go into Berkeley 2 years later. I didn't get in directly, but I could have gotten through, doing 2 years there. So I'd signed up to do that plan. It was all set to go. And I was just so frustrated with being there. I wanted to escape. So I literally wrote a letter to the University of Illinois saying like, hey, I know I said no, but I'd still like to go.
Wow.
And they're like, we're totally overbooked. And, we can't really, there's like a huge waiting list, but, you could try to write a letter to the dean explaining your situation. And I just wrote like a very heartfelt letter that was really like a long shot. And I was still so back and forth that I actually called them back to tell them not to worry about it, that I'm committing back to this other plan. And they're like, oh, really? They're like, we just sent a letter out. Like, you got to accept it again.
Oh,
and I was like,
gosh.
What? And that just stirred the pot a little more. And literally I told my parents with 3 weeks before school started that I want to go move out of the state and go to University of Illinois, which was a huge deal for them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem that big of a deal today, but to them, they're very tight-knit community, family stays together. So,
I went 4 hours away in the same state.
Yeah.
And it was a tragedy in my family.
Yeah, so my brother went to LA from San Jose for school, and that was the tragedy. He kind of broke the ice, and then I took the bigger step. So really left out of frustration. And then when I got to Illinois, I kind of made a vow to surround myself by better people. Mm-hmm. So, I went from hanging out with kind of these ghetto wannabe thugs, tagging graffiti, all this stuff, jumping people, all sorts of the wrong crap, to hanging out with a bunch of nerds, a bunch of foreigners. And
Are these the poker playing nerds you found?
No.
Okay.
These are just, my college friends, one from New York, from Puerto Rico, from India, just into all sorts of different stuff. And my circles have always been very diverse, which, I'm a big believer that, when you go and look at a group of friends, like when people are all, dressed the same, into the same, like all the same beliefs, like, they're not really truly kind of experiencing like what there is to experience, and they're not really going to be fully free thinking, because you're just caught in a bubble. So that's kind of how my friend circles always are.
Well, I was reading in an interview you described, seeing your campus for the first time and all the cornfields.
Yeah.
Because you really did go there sight unseen.
So I didn't visit the school at all, right? There's no time. Like, it was just like a live out of frustration. So, my dad flew with me for, the school orientation. And when I got there, landed at O'Hare, and it's a 3-hour drive to Urbana-Champaign, where the university is, and it's all cornfields. And I'd never seen anything like that. I'd been to Pakistan, out of the country, but besides that, my whole life's just been California. And there's no space like that, at least not where I'd seen at the time.
Course, yeah.
So I'm just like seeing city normally. So I'm like, where is everything? And I see these like water tanks, and to me that looked like so old school. I was like, where am I? Like, and then like my dad's like, there's the university, and like we get there and I'm just like seeing people playing like cornhole, and like I'm just like, holy shit, I just made the biggest mistake of my life. Like the girls are probably gonna be like nuns over here, and like what's going on. Ended up being the best decision of my life. Like huge culture shock for the better. That kind of made me realize, like, okay, well, if Illinois can be so different than California, but still awesome, then what else is there to see? And that kind of got me the bug to want to, start doing these like EPT tournaments out of college and flying to Barcelona and vagabonding.
Well, we'll get to your crazy living out of a suitcase lifestyle in a second. But I want to talk about your initial run in college, because you found poker and, you did pretty well.
Yeah.
Got yourself a nickname because you like chasing flushes.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But, how the hell do you run up a 6-figure bankroll and blow it all in a week?
Blowing it all is not that hard. How do I run it up in a week?
Because I was playing poker at the exact... I'm a year older than you. I was playing poker in college at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, I won $800 in a tournament.
Yeah.
Guess I'm going to be king for the next semester with the beers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I was hungry and I was motivated. So to start out, there was, a guy who was playing in the dorms, and he wanted to teach everyone else how to play. So, we did like a $5 or $10 tournament. It was about maybe 12, 13 of us. Only like 2 of the guys knew how to play. So I ended up winning that tournament. No one knew how to play. So it was just like trying to outsmart each other. And then, everyone got into it. We started playing this like weekly, like 10 cent, 25 cent. It was like a, $10 buy-in game. And I ended up being down I remember like $180 after a couple weeks, which is a lot of money for me. And I was just like, okay, like I could see where this is going. Like I don't want to spiral, blow a bunch of money I shouldn't be blowing. If I get down to 100, I'm going to stop playing. Who knows if I would have or not. But after that, it went on to tear, ended up being up like a few $100s, started looking for bigger games around campus. So I started going to like fraternities, charity events, all this kind of stuff. Having success, started playing online. The reason I started playing online was there was like a little flyer I saw at school that was like, pay off your tuition from this free roll. It was on RoyalVegasPoker.com. I signed up for that, and I was out partying, so I missed the free roll, but then I just deposited and started playing anyways. I just I would just jump into these huge games I should not have been in. I would go into the 5-10 game and bind for the minimum and run it up. I was just kind of doing that, and built up like a 10K bankroll over a couple months. I'm trying to think what
so
came
far
first.
That's normal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which came first, the big online thing or the live. Well, so me and my friend started doing these kind of crazy trips to Vegas from college.
Is this Mosin?
No. This is my friend Ben LeFew.
Okay, because Mosen went to the same
Mosen
school
went to the
as you.
university. We didn't know each other in school.
That's incredible. Because his story is almost identical.
So he showed up to my home game once, and he was just this random brown kid in a hoodie that showed up to my game once. We didn't really talk or hang out, and then like after we graduated, we kind of became like friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, my partner was Ben LeFew. You know, it was kind of like me and him, like in rounders. Like he was like my partner. We'd go up, you know, find games. So I remember I showed up to his dorm once, like Thursday night, around like 1 a.m. And I was like, Ben, I was like, we should go to Vegas. And he's just like, yeah, like I know, like we've been talking about it, like let's plan a trip. And I'm like, no, like we should go now. And he was just like, what do you mean? I was like, I looked up flights, like, you know, like out of O'Hare, like 7 a.m., like this much. Like, I was like, I already talked to our friend G. Like, you know, he'll drive us to the airport for $50. He stays down. And then he's like, well, we got Spanish class tomorrow, like, blah, blah. And I'm like, G's Puerto Rican. Like, we'll pay him some more to do the homework. And, like, he's just like, damn. He's like, I can't think of a reason not to. So, literally on a whim, we just fly to Vegas. I remember we booked a later flight so we could go to the bank first to get money. And we thought you had to like be like really like you shouldn't carry large amounts of cash, so we need to get traveler's checks, right? Like that's what we always heard you do. So
meanwhile, every homeless guy in Vegas has $500 on him.
So we go to the bank and we're like, yeah, we need like I don't know how we took like a couple thousand each, so we took like 4,000 as traveler's checks, and they're like, oh, the largest traveler's check is 100, so we got to do like a bunch of these. So like next thing you know, we're like in the back room with the banker, like signing all these traveler's checks.
Oh my God.
Like it's such a grind, and they're just like, oh, you're going to Vegas, like you guys are crazy. So like we show up there and like don't even use the traveler's checks, like use the ATMs. We ended up like he was playing like 80-160 limit. I was playing like 10-20 no limit. You know, buying in 2,000 would probably like 10,000 in my name. We both like, you know, made like 5,000-6,000, like flew back. We're like the heroes, like in our dorm.
Yeah.
Literally like fly back the next week and do it again. And this just becomes like a regular thing.
Man.
So that's going on. And you know, we start like, you know, we're the kids at school with money, like buying everyone like drinks, like throwing crazy parties, like having a blast. Start playing online more. I jump into like these 10-20 games, or no, like 25-50 games, which would be like 5K buy-in. I'd buy in sometimes. Well, now I got some more money, so I'm buying in bigger. I basically just have like a crazy week where, you know, the first session I run up like 5K into like a 30K stack. I start jumping in like heads-up games. I'm playing. I don't even know who these guys are at the time, but I was playing like Frolad Friedman, playing like Ramlaswani. These are like the guys that
the OG online guys.
These are like the guys that sit there waiting for someone to play them at the largest games, which was like 100, 200 at the time.
Taylor I think was one of the guys at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just battling these guys like fearless. I don't know who anyone is. Just like my own hyper aggressive style. And I basically run it up to about 170K by the end of the week.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's definitely insane. I'm flying high, like thinking I'm going to make millions of dollars a year, like doing this. Definitely stopped going to class. I mean, every day it was just like, there's this guy sitting here with 10K, or I could go to class. Like, and so that was a pretty crazy wild ride. I ended up basically losing it all over the course of the next year, which was a very dark, depressing period for me. You know, just to go from that high to that low in such a short period of time, just really tough. I'm
amazed you stayed in poker.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you look at a game again?
I didn't go from 170 to broke. I went from 170 to negative like 30 in debt, borrowing some money. So yeah, I mean, it was really tough. At the time, you know, my parents had found out that I was playing because an article came out in the university newspaper that was like, student wins 120,000 playing online poker. You know, they think I'm in summer school. I'm really in Vegas, like, you know, playing cash games in the World Series. So my dad's freaking out. You know, I agree to them that I'm going to invest like a bunch of the money in a property. Now I've lost it all. I'm too embarrassed to tell them. So I kind of showed up junior year, have been like, okay, I was gonna like pay. I just screwed off my school for 2 years. My grades just suffered. I'm gonna like, get everything together, focus on that. Now instead, I'm like depressed, 30K in the hole, and just like in this awful situation. I ended up taking a semester off school. I went and saw the school therapist, which was actually incredibly helpful. I'm a big proponent for therapy and therapists, and I think like even if you're not like dangerously depressed, like it's great to have a therapist. Like it's just like you talk to your friends about your problems and you get advice. Like, well, this is just like a friend who's an expert at it and seen this a million times. So some of the things they told me that helped me was when I explained like all the things that were bothering me. Sure, it was the financial thing, but there's other things as well. And they're like, right now, think of your problems like a carpet. If you try to lift it all at once, it's just like overwhelming. Like lift one at a time, one corner at a time, and it just becomes way easier. And it just seems so simple, but it's just like so incredibly true. Like you get overwhelmed and you just solve one thing, and it just like everything's so much easier. The other thing, they were just like, after like a traumatic experience like this, like your confidence is shot. Like you literally think you suck and like you can't do anything and you can't get out of this hole. So go and do things that used to make you feel confident. So I was like, okay, I was, good at basketball, like track, like writing, rap lyrics, like all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I should spend some time. So started playing some more basketball, and you're kicking ass on the court, and it just makes you feel good about yourself. I'm just trying to think where. Yeah. So then there's the other part was, they said not to play poker. Like it's just like not, like it's just like obviously like the gambling, like, and you lose money, you're just gonna feel like shit. I didn't take that advice. I kept playing. I kept playing, and I would run it up to like a couple thousand and lose it all, and I just like stuck in that cycle. And I finally just realized that like I was gonna be like screwed. My life was gonna be over. Like I was gonna have to like drop out of school, like go back to California, like I told you so from my parents, like all of that. So I just kind of buckled down and started playing these like $5-10 sit and goes. Like actually, it was literally $5 sit and goes, and that was the hardest part, to go from this guy who's jumping in these $20,000 buy-in games.
That's so hard.
I'm a local celebrity at school. Everybody's talking about me, and now I'm playing these $5 games.
I've never played that high.
Yeah.
But even I have trouble giving a shit about a $5 sit and go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a really humbling moment. And even today, even right now, I mean, everybody goes through up and down swings. It doesn't matter who you are, what level you're playing at. And there are times you need to move down. And when you move down, people are going to look at you and be like, oh, what happened to this guy? He's broke, yada, yada, yada. You just need to learn to not care about that. And that's incredibly difficult, but it's incredibly vital in the success of you surviving, So I definitely learned to kind of do that. I worked my way up slowly. Like before I didn't have any concept of bankroll management, like none of this stuff. So, we had started a poker house at the University of Illinois. So we rented like a 9-bedroom house. We're running games there. We're playing online poker. So guys like Kevin Schultz was one of my students. So he would come over. I would teach him.
EPT winner.
Yep. He won PCA. For like almost $2 million. Ty Ryman was one of my like big students. He used to come every day and would grind. Puffing
my perp.
Yep. Puffing my perp. I'm trying to think. And then so Ravi Ravagan was. He wasn't my student, but Andy Seth also came in a group. So my partner Ben was teaching Andy Seth. BK Ice. And then Andy, we started a forum called the Poker House, and he started being really successful at tournaments, on a low scale, like having some 10, 15K scores. And I was still doing this cash game thing and grinding these sit and goes. So I was seeing him being successful in that. Like, oh, maybe I should play tournaments. So, I kind of saw a little bit of what he's doing, these shove ranges, this and that, started understanding bankroll management. So I started satelliting into like the nightly party poker, like 162 buy-in, satellited to a tournament in Aruba. So I show up to Aruba, play this main event, bust, and I'm playing online, just late night security guard, like me and security guard in this like random hut. And I end up winning the nightly event for like 33K. That was basically my never look back moment.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, like final table, the UB main event on Ultimate Bet, like for another like $30K. Just like literally from that moment, like never been broke, like, you know, that was definitely my like transition point, you know, out of cash games into MTTs and just like on the way back. Yeah.
Well, you know, you did finish school. You got your bachelor's degree, economics and business.
Yep. So finishing school. So it's interesting because, you know, a lot of millennials, you know, will say school is a big waste of time, yada yada. Which, I mean, for the price, I kind of agree. Like, you know, but a lot of what I learned in school is, first of all, you just learn to be an adult. Just you know, going through the process of having to manage yourself, having this responsibility of, you know, you need to go to these classes, you need to maintain these grades, you know, you need to somehow like stay out of the trouble from all the temptations. So you know, there's that. There's also, you know, the networking. I think there's other ways to kind of do some of those things without spending, you know, $30K a year being an out-of-state student. But there is a lot of value in, I think, just having finished it. You know, I do feel like I see some people that they're just not able, like I just can't count on them sometimes, like to like start and finish something. Like if we agree to you know, to work on something, on a project, on a business, on a side thing, on a blog or whatever. Whereas someone who has finished college, I think, is more likely to be, you know, reliable in that sense. And I'm not saying...
And a lot of these poker players, not only did they not finish college, they never had a job. They never had anybody to answer to.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you need to go to college, and if you don't go to college, that you're not responsible and you can't be relied on. But I think there is a correlation there, and you need to be realistic that you need to fill that void in some other sort of way and just be aware of that. Yeah.
Well, let's get to the live successes. You know, February 20, 2008, you win a LAPC 1K prelim for $105,000. That kind of gets you started and said, "Hey, world, I'm here."
Yep, I missed like a big like midterm exam for that.
18 months later, after a few min cashes, that's when the run really begins. June 2009. Third at the World Series of Poker 5K 6 Max. That's $400K in your pocket. I mean, what's it feel like to win $400K? At that point in your career.
That year, if I remember correctly, I had like a big WPT score.
Well, yeah, a month later. Let me get this accurate. A month later, you finished second at the Bellagio Cup for $775,000, and then in December of that year, back at Bellagio for the 5 Diamond, you finished third for $572K. So, I mean... Yeah,
like 1.7 or something in cashes in that year.
You were announced as WPT Player of the Year. And
yeah, no, that year was just like a monster year. I mean, just things are happening so fast. Like, it's not even... There wasn't really even time to really soak it in. It's just like... You win, and we're planning to like, okay, I got to go to Monaco next week. You know, I got to go stash this cash somewhere. I got to go, you know... I mean, that kind of all happened so fast. It was amazing. You know, it was interesting because there's, you know, I was on the cover of Card Player, got the Player of the Year, you know.
One of the most colorful covers in our history.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see, like, from my perspective, nothing had really changed. Like, I was still the same person. I was still, like, as good as I was the previous year. But I was seeing how, like, a lot of people in my social circle, or even parents, friends, that kind of thing, like, just because I was on the magazine cover, they looked at it differently. So it was funny because even though I think the magazine cover maybe even came like, I don't know, it might have even been like 9 months after the scores. Yeah. But like after the scores, I'm still not getting certain respect out of people like outside of poker, but they see the magazine thing and all of a sudden like, oh. Yeah. And which is funny. It's just like, it's kind of dumb in a way, but I also kind of get it because, you know, from an outsider, like, you don't really have the tools to be able to judge, like, who's legitimate and who's not. Right. So they just have these kind of, like, old-fashioned ways of kind of thinking, like, something's legitimate. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm not saying it's good or bad or anything. It's just, like, it was interesting to kind of have that insight.
The cash game grinders have the same beef against tournament players because they don't have a moment of glory.
Oh, sure. There's cash game players that are, you know, probably way more successful than me, and we'll go out together, and someone will look at me as like, oh, like this guy's like some random gambler.
He's the poker guy.
Yeah, but I'm the poker guy. But I mean, I get it. I mean, it's hard to differentiate because the truth of the matter is there are a lot of people that are running around faking it. It's in poker it is like a Hollywood thing. In Hollywood, everyone's an actor, everyone's a director, and it's really hard to figure out who's the real deal because so many people are faking it and so many people are good at faking it. And it's the same in poker because anyone could, get lucky and be backed and be broke and have, a good resume on their Hendon mob.
Exactly.
And to the outside, everyone who plays poker gets this, you're on a plane and someone's like, oh, my friend, like, he's like, oh, he's the man at poker. And then, like, you're like, oh, like, maybe I know him. You Hendon mob and you're like, oh, like, this is that, like, shyster that's, like, broke and, like, like scumming everyone like for staking deals or something. Yeah.
He had one score 15 years ago, and he keeps using it to find a sucker. Put him in.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
On that note, I want to say what's really interesting about the poker world is it's really like the human jungle, because you have to there's not really any sort of set rules. You don't have a boss. You don't have anyone stopping you from getting involved in these like dangerous staking deals, loans, kind of business agreements. So you kind of have to learn to kind of read people, fend for yourself. And it really it gives you the kind of financial education that people take a lifetime to go through. You go through in a couple of years. And that's where I think poker is an incredible opportunity to grow just as a human being and to learn how to, self-manage yourself in this human jungle.
Did you ever have any crazy offers from the vultures who come out after a big score?
I have a Facebook message I got this morning. Someone said, I'm going to kill myself if you don't send me 5,000 in Bitcoin. Here's my address. That's all the message said.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Dramatic.
Yeah. I mean, you need to, I get sometimes, long messages on my webpage, like some super long, like sob story. And majority of these messages are probably made up. Like, sure, maybe some of them are true, but, it's just like, it's crazy. Yeah.
Nigerian prince email scams.
Yeah. And my kind of advice to people, I think at one point I put up like an auto response or when people email me on my website now, I have like a little precursor that says, read this before you email.
Yeah.
Because there are legitimate people that want to get in touch with you, that want to send cold emails, and they mean well. Maybe they want help or maybe they have a business opportunity or whatever. And I always say, first of all, keep it short because no matter you just can't write a huge email and expect like someone who doesn't know you to read it all. Yeah. It's not that the other person thinks they're too good for you. It's just there's no way for me to get to like all the cold messages
Everyone's
if I read
busy,
these. Yeah. So, keep your email like short, concise. If you have like a serious like business proposition, like ideally like just find someone we both trust, like a mutual contact, and reach out through that. Just little things you can do like that to just make, it more efficient for everyone,
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the results because I'm seeing a theme here. Third at the PCA main event, $755,000. Then you got a fourth at the World Series of Poker Europe. Second in the UK IPT High Roller. Fifth at the WPT.
I have a lot of
Bay 101.
second through fifth. And
seventh at the
not
PCA
a lot of W's.
25K.
Yeah.
3 more WSOP final table since. Now, you did win a WPT Deep Stacks last year.
It's a baby one compared to those.
But yeah, so we're sensing a theme here,
Yeah, I that's a common question that I'll get in, when every time I'm deep at a final table, like, oh, like, do you think there's a monkey on your back? It's really just variance. Like think about the amount of like
so you
limited.
don't have a complex about being a closer or anything like that.
No, I've closed pretty well online. I'm really confident in my like shorthanded game. I think when you get to kind of those shorthanded and heads up matches, like street poker comes a lot more into play. A lot of psychology, and those are actually like some of my strengths. I feel very good about that part of my game. So yeah, I think it's a lot of just variance. There's only a handful of situations like that I've been in. There's definitely some spots where 3-4 handed. I think I maybe made some like ICM blunders back in the days where I just wasn't that educated on ICM back then. So yeah, sure, there are some mistakes here and there, but overall I think it's just variance. I mean, you got to run really good sometimes. I could think of so many like epic hands, like 3-way, 4-way in the PCA where I lost like 60 big blind pot, like jacks versus fours, and those go the other way and I get the W, Yeah.
Do you ever focus on the money that you left up top? I mean, you have $7 million in live earnings.
Yeah, I mean,
It could be 15.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like I probably like just taking a few thirds and fourths and turning them into wins. I maybe like 1.6x my lifetime earnings, which is pretty. I think I sit back and think about that in a sense of like, there's nothing to feel bad about that because it's like, well, I think first you question yourself like, did I do anything wrong? Was there anything I should have done better? And if there is, that's just a matter of, okay, go study those hands, like make sure you kind of know that spot for next time. There's no really benefit of dwelling on it. But there is acknowledgement of just like, wow, like there is a lot of short-term luck involved that can really swing your career this way or that way. And it's just good to be aware of that so you know what you're getting into. And in poker, if you're playing live tournament poker, where the volume's not that high, which I mean, like if you play full time, you're playing 100 tournaments a year.
Yeah.
You just you got to be realistic that you can't set financial goals. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to make $200K this year. It's just not in your control, know? So I think it's good to be aware of those swings just in terms of that. And also so that when you are crushing and having a crazy year, you don't overcredit yourself either because that's dangerous.
Yeah. Well, let's get to, obviously during this whole stretch, you're living out of the suitcase. They label you as the homeless millionaire poker player. And you literally have your life pared down to a bag.
Yeah, 2 bags.
2 bags.
So I
mean, the CNMP said that you played, this was just 1 year you gave an example of, and you did this for almost a decade.
Yep.
You played 102 poker tournaments in a year, went to 47 different cities, 13 different countries, and took 52 flights.
Yep, that was
I
a
hope
standard
it's calmed
year.
Down a little bit.
That was a standard year for like 5-6 years, but for the better part of, I'd say 9 out of 11 years. So I graduated college. I was already starting to travel in college. As soon as I graduated, I just hit the tour full time. I'd go everywhere, all the EPT stops. So, I'd go to Barcelona, Prague, Germany, I'd go to Australia for Aussie Millions, do, the U.S. tournaments in South Africa.
Yep.
And then
you won a WPT in Johannesburg.
High roller event. So I traveled like that for a year and a half. I got really worn out, and then I was like, okay, I want a place. So I got a place in Chicago, lived there for a year and a half.
That's when Card Player did the cover on you.
Yep. That's right. And then I got sick of being normal, and then I went back on the road. But the second time around, I kind of trimmed some fat.
Okay.
So the first time around, I was traveling with way too much luggage. Like I just didn't really have much of a system. So here I'll talk about kind of the main changes. So one was just letting go of things. You know what I mean? Like I like to go out, like to party. Used to like to go to clubs a lot and stuff. So I'd have like all these like nice clothes, and just like too much luggage. You think like, oh, I might need these pants, I might need those pants, like these shoes, blah blah. I just learned that it's just easier if you just get rid of all that crap. So I kind of optimize my clothes, and I still do this today. That like the pants I'm wearing right now, like these are like stylish pants. Like I could dress these up, but they're also insanely comfortable. I could sit on the plane with them. I could sit for 12 hours. Yeah. The color scheme is work that I could work with a lot of different colors. And so now I'm just traveling. I literally have 1 pair of pants, 2 pair of shoes, one for like working out, but the working out shoes are also like, they're nice basketball Jordans that can like be dressed up too. And I've just like optimized my luggage so that I have 2 carry-ons.
Everything's versatile.
And that makes a big difference because just like carrying your luggage like through the airport, like in and out of like taxis, Ubers, like trains, buses, like it just wears on you and makes you tired.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. Exercise. So every other week, your exercise routine, like there's a lot of mental effort that goes to waste just trying to figure out things. And that tires you out, it wears you out. So what I realized is the less you need to think about things, the more energy you have. So I just created a workout routine that I can do no matter where I am. So that means like using the floor, using the door. Like I travel with an extension cord that I'm able to like jump rope with and do, even other things that I'd have to kind of show you physically. But I just have a system so that I don't have to refigure out how to work out every other week. Same thing with food, just figuring out meals that work like everywhere. I'm not doing this as much anymore, but I used to have I have like tuna cans and I'd make this like mixture and I know I could get these ingredients like anywhere.
You're traveling like an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of athlete.
Well, if traveling was a sport,
what I mean? Oh, like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just really like highly like optimizing those things and being very thoughtful of them. So that helped a lot. I did this for like another 9 years now, and then I got worn out after 9 years this time, and I stopped traveling about 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So that's when I got off tour, and I did a startup. I actually launched an online poker site that a lot of people don't know about, that I kind of kept kind of out of the media on the English side, kind of on purpose. And it was we launched in Brazil as our launch market, and I'm happy to go more into that now or later. But
let's sidetracking
off the traveling.
Let's talk about it. What maybe the benefits or the downsides of starting an online poker site?
So I've always been pretty passionate about entrepreneurship. I'm surrounded by a lot of my close friends are really successful in the Silicon Valley tech scene. So I've always been kind of surrounded by that circle, interested in that circle, kind of passively investing in startups. And I've been wanting to do something of my own, was kind of getting sick of being on the road all the time, looking for something to do. So I ended up meeting some guys who were working on a poker learning tool. And these were people that had already been successful in the tech world, so kind of highly knowledgeable on how to kind of run a high-growth startup. So we looked into, I teamed up with them to basically work on a poker learning tool. Now I guess there's a lot of, something more interactive and stuff. And this was probably about like 4 years ago. And we started working on that for a couple months. And, we kind of had the idea that, eventually we might be able to, we'll have a bunch of users. We can maybe launch a poker site. And the more we kind of looked into what it takes to launch a poker site, we pretty much realized that, there's no reason to wait. Like we can do all these things now. We basically, built a software completely from scratch, using cutting edge technology. It was it was optimized in browser. We launched in Brazil, so just getting to launch was a big deal. Like a lot of things had to go right to be able to get to launch.
And this took you completely out of poker. This is your
job.
I
mean, I'm working like 60 hours a week. We have a team of about 11, 12 employees. I'm managing the small marketing team. I'm doing a lot of different things. I was basically our hack to like early user acquisition. I was also like helping writing specs for the developers and, coming up with, game formats and that kind of stuff, helping with biz development. So I definitely learned a lot. I definitely 10x my business knowledge over these last couple of years. I mean, I did everything from email marketing to Facebook ads, amongst other things. So we launched in Brazil. That was a pretty awesome experience, actually. Poker in Brazil is insane. It's like nothing like anywhere else has experienced. I mean, there is poker at the malls. Like while all the whites go shopping, they have a poker room, and you go and play poker. There's poker at the soccer stadium for like the main team in Brazil, where you could watch the game playing poker. It's very recreational. Instead of pool tables at the bars downtown, there's poker tables. So that's really awesome. I did something that was really fun. As a promo, I basically, I put out a video saying, hey, Brazil, like I'm going to come crash your home game. Send me a video why I should come to your home game. Got a bunch of applicants and literally flew to Brazil, going to these like remote like areas and just crashing home games. Like no idea what to expect, no idea what getting myself into. And the idea was, these are going to be our users. Like, let's go meet them face to face. Let's go find out like what they like, what they don't like, and let's form a relationship with them.
That's funny. We have a question during our rapid fire portion which says, weirdest place you've ever played poker for money.
Yeah, definitely there. I mean, there was this one area that's kind of like a farmland, like farm area. They had this game, like 70 people showed up. They had like they had posters of me on the wall. They had mugs with my name on it, like jerseys. It was awesome. I mean, they were so welcoming. They had like a buffet of like feijoada and like Japanese like sushi chef. Like it was awesome.
That's gotta be so weird, playing with your face hanging around. Like.
So some games were like that, and then other games that crashed were like kind of the younger guys in the city. Like we did like a hat party, like so everyone had to wear a hat.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun. I got some really cool footage out of that.
But ultimately, what goes wrong?
Yeah, so I'd say to sum it up, we launched too early, and I actually think most companies launched too late and too slow. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of two ways of kind of doing business. The one is kind of the more kind of older, like outdated way, which I'm going to say, and that's where you spend millions of dollars building this perfect product that you think everyone's going to like. And the problem with doing that way is you don't actually have any user data. So you're building this thing that you think everyone's going to like, and if they don't like it, then you just wasted $5 million in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So kind of the new age way of doing things is you spend, a few $100K to $1 million on MVP, which minimally viable product, which it's not this perfect product. It's just this chunky kind of prototype. And you're proving that, okay, I see that users like this. Like, you take user feedback and keep building until you see they like this. We have traction. Okay, we are able to get a team together. The development team's working. Then you go back to investors, to VC or whatever, and you say, okay, now I want to pump another $3 million into it. Go to the next phase, pump another $10 million into it. So, we were definitely taking that approach. So, we raised about $1 million, and we needed to launch a poker site on that budget, which I highly prefer to do than raising $5 million and doing it, because I think that would be a mistake. I think that's just not efficient.
You might create this great shell that nobody plays at.
Exactly, and it's a waste of time, like, because a lot of times companies start building one thing and then they pivot into something completely else. I mean, we started like that too. We were building a poker learning tool and built and formed into a poker site. So our product was actually very beautiful. Like I'd say it's second to none as far as from the user side. How smoothly it ran, really quick, like really good graphics. The problem was on the backside, a lot of things were hacked together. Sorry, I shouldn't say that's a problem. That's kind of normal when you're trying to build a product really fast. But I think what happened was by launching too quickly, we ended up just firefighting too much, and now we're kind of at the mercy of trying to please our users.
Yeah.
And we purposely wanted to build it in a way that not everything's ready to go, but now you're in the situation where there's a right way to fix something, and then there's a quick way to fix something. And a lot of times the quick way is better because you need to keep the users happy to keep them around. But if you're doing that too much, then now you kind of have built this site where everything's patched together and it's not done in the way that's actually going to be survivable long term. So we just kind of got caught in like too much firefighting, and it just became obvious at some point that we were going to have to kind of just shut this down.
Yeah.
But we had some really good traction early on. We got about 30,000 registered users, about 500 paid depositors, and we were converting more of those 30,000 every month. So a lot of things were going really well, and I think we did do a lot of things right. But I think the couple things we messed up on just kind of put the nail in the coffin, and it was mind blowing to see because there's like we'd always write down like what are our biggest risk factors, and even if you're doing so many things right, like any one of those 10 risk factors can just like sink you.
Yeah.
And that's why these things aren't likely to make it. There's maybe a 15% chance that thing had worked out. And I would 100% do it again.
Yeah.
I believe
because that 15% when it comes through is
that's fine.
life-changing.
We're not supposed to make it every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely an incredible experience. I learned a lot about the poker industry from the other side. I definitely come back now as a player and hearing players talk about, PokerStars and Party Poker, ACR, like they're all idiots. They don't know what they're doing. Like 90% of the people, everything came out of their mouth. Like they don't understand like what's really going on. They don't get things from the other. They don't really understand what their real motivations are, what their limitations are from the software side, how things work. It's just really interesting. Like having that perspective. I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
So, that project ends. You get back on the road, start doing the tournament grind again. You get married.
Yeah.
So, does that mean you have a home base now?
So I had a home base. So
how does this? I mean, can you even be a nomad and also married?
Yeah. So I bought a place in Boulder, and I was living there, and we were running the startup out of my basement. I had a pretty good office space there, and once we shut the startup down, I didn't exactly have a reason to be there anymore. I want to be there because I love Boulder. That's why I bought property there. I think it's one of the best places in the world. Yeah. And I'd like to kind of eventually live there again. But I was kind of in this in-between phase where, now I got to figure out what's next. Do I go back to poker? Do I do another business venture? I'd like to do another business venture, but I also don't want to force it. I think a lot of things need to come together to be like I found the right co-founder. I found the right project I'm passionate about. I also have something to offer to this team of value. So rather than kind of force something, I went back into playing poker and kind of had a new motivation. It was kind of fun to kind of come back into it. But I still do have this hunger on the business side. So I actually just in the last month signed up as an instructor on PokerCoaching.com. It's a site that Jonathan Little is a co-founder of.
Jonathan Little,
the founder of,
he's
the founder.
Card player, columnist Jonathan Little.
Yep. So Jonathan's done an awesome job there. And I'm also doing affiliate for them, that's the business side of it. So, I've never actually put a lot of effort into marketing my own name and my own brand. I have a website, but it's just really like evergreen content. So now as I'm a coach, I get to do two things. I've learned all these awesome tricks of the trade and strategies like over the years. I've always been like super secretive about them, but now that I'm cutting my tournament volume down in probably half, I'm a lot more open to kind of sharing those things now. So I get to kind of share all these things that can help all these other aspiring grinders. Then I also kind of get to create content and do kind of this whole like marketing side, which I kind of became passionate about when I was doing, Check Raise, the online poker site. I love doing content, videos, coming up with, that kind of stuff. So now I kind of have a.
So what can people, like listeners, if they want to go check it out? What should they do?
So if you want to check it out, I have a link where you can join the site for half off for your first month. It's PokerCoaching.com/Faraz. That's / So PokerCoaching.com/Faraz. So basically what it is the site has training modules. Where I'll do these long hour-long format videos, training you on different subjects and topics, going through hands. There's also these short quizzes, which the quizzes are awesome. What it is it's a video quiz where it'll put you in a scenario. We'll get to the flop, and then it pauses, and it'll be like, what do you do here? Okay. A, B, C, D. Then you click, and then after you click, then I come back on and I explain why this is the right answer, why those are wrong answers. And it's actually incredibly educational. There's some other awesome coaches on there as well. Jonathan Jaffe, Matt Affleck, Alex Fitzgerald. If you're interested in that, definitely check it out and go through that link. You'll get a little discount on there. But it's pretty fun doing that because it's added kind of a new something new, exciting for me while I'm traveling now because I'm kind of sharing a lot of like awesome things about being on tour. Before I was just like so focused on playing high stakes, studying my ass off, like not really any time to do any extra content. I truly believe it's kind of hard to. You're either a high stakes crusher or you're a content guy. It's really hard to do both because they both take a lot of time to do both well. which is why, I went through some period where I wanted to kind of promote and do this content thing, and I realized that I need to choose between one or the other. So I'm not doing as many kind of like 25K high rollers and that kind of thing. Instead, I'm doing a lot of these more like stateside tournaments, like 3,500 to 10K buy-ins. And then I'm jumping into some of these like 1,700 main events, which I've never played before. But it's really cool for me to do that because if I'm creating learning content for people who are playing, WCB circuit events and, these lower price points, then I want to be in those games. I want to understand those games. I want to be able to make sure the advice that I give is relevant. Yeah. Whereas, if I'm just playing 25K high rollers with a small set of people, then, it's a very, different strategy than playing in those games.
Well, so far it's worked out. You took third at the circuit in Tampa, the high roller there, and then you finished second at the Lucky Hearts Poker Open, also in South Florida. Yeah. So no rust to shake off.
Yeah, well, so I spent all of last year shaking off the rust.
Yeah.
So, I did a lot of study and worked on my game, got in with my group of players I talk strategy with, and really just spent the year getting caught up to date with everything. And now I feel like really good about where my game's at. So how does the wife fit into this? Does she fit in the suitcase? Or? She does. So my wife is awesome. She actually lived a somewhat similar lifestyle as me. Different in the sense that I was traveling every 10 days to a new place. She's a vagabonder as well. But what she would do is she does online marketing, remote work. So she would be, living in Bali for 3 years, doing online marketing there. Lived in London for a few months, lived in Thailand, lived in Buenos Aires for 3 years. So she kind of did a lot of experiential traveling, but just less destinations and more time in each place. Yeah. Which is actually what I want to do. So she fits in great there in terms of, she's able to do, a lot of her work like on the road. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff she does is relevant to the stuff I'm trying to do in terms of, promote myself, my own brand, and, the pokercoaching.com stuff. So that's been awesome. She finds poker super fascinating and is super interested in it. Everything's been awesome. Yeah.
You went to a Buddhist monastery in Thailand and didn't talk for 10 days.
Yes.
And then you said that was your best trip ever.
Yeah.
Explain.
It was the best trip ever after. During was very tough. Definitely 10 of the most hardest days of my life. You basically go and you're meditating for about 14 hours a day. The way a day starts is, it starts before the sun comes up. You have an hour to yourself. You could either spend that hour sleeping longer or going and showering, going for a walk, whatever you want to do. You shower out of a tub of cold water in a scooper, small little bathroom with giant spiders sometimes. And, you're literally in the wilderness in an island in Thailand. Yeah. Sometimes in my room I'd see these giant iguanas right next to my head. I'd have a bug net in between us.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And there's even snakes, king cobra on the island too.
It's some Indiana Jones stuff here.
Yeah. Which was all very uncomfortable, but that's part of the experience. You're sleeping on a wooden bunk bed, with just a little thin mat as a pillow. Just how am I going to, that definitely when you got there, you're what am I doing? Yeah. I'm going to be miserable these next 10 days. And what ends up happening is you spend 14 hours a day meditating, switching between walking meditation, standing meditation, eating meditation, working meditation, all sorts of different things. There's an hour-long lecture where the teachers talk to you and explain kind of their philosophies and Buddhist teachings. They kind of already understand what you're going through, what's difficult. They kind of help guide you through that. What you're really doing is you're trying to focus your mind, and you realize while you're there how hard it is just to focus for even 10 seconds. Yeah. Your mind just keeps wandering and you cannot let go. So the first step is kind of understanding how often your mind wanders. The next step is kind of looking into, where does it wander to? What do I think about? And everything kind of categorized into the 5 hindrances, which if you want to learn more about that, I wrote a blog about it. So it's on farazjaka.com. And, if you just go there, you'll see my blog about it. But yeah, your mind will go into things like, this argument you had with your friend or your parents, or you're stressed about money or this job you want to have or whatever. And what you realize with the teacher is you don't actually accomplish anything when your mind just wanders into these things. And then the next step is you learn to pay attention to your body and your breathing. And you learn that, when my mind goes to these places, my breathing shortens, my arms tense. So you're actually wasting energy throughout the whole day. And by the end of the day, you're worn out and you're tired and stressed out. So what you're doing those entire 10 days is you're learning to recognize these patterns, to accept that you're not accomplishing anything, you're just killing your energy, and to let go of them. And, I was really worried going into it that, this is going to be some like hippie, like spiritual, like overly spiritual bullshit. Like, no, super logical, super scientific, very practical. And by the end, you just feel like so much lighter. And what that lightness is really just like you not stressing your body out all the time. And it's incredible. I walked out of there feeling like I was on a drug. Like I took like sunglasses off for the first time. Like, this is what the world really looks like. Mm-hmm. And all that from just being there 10 days, not talking, focusing, like, nothing unnatural. Incredible experience. Highly recommend it. I think it's something everyone should do. I try to, all my good friends, I try to tell them, like, you got to go do this.
So because of this, now you meditate often and you're into cold showers.
Yeah. I love, so meditating often, I'm on and off with it. It's like working out. If I don't meditate, it was interesting doing the startup experience. My focus and my ADD got way worse. Mm-hmm. I was just on 60, 70 hours a week. I'd sleep. I'd wake up at, 6 a.m. I have a meeting I need to run at 6:30 a.m. I haven't prepped for. And just like every day was like that. And you're just, working like, and it was really fun working like an animal like that for a little bit. There's people who do that their whole career. I couldn't do that. I don't want to do that. I physically feel like working that hard is unhealthy for you. Yeah. Like, I can tell, like just by how worse my focus and ADD got and stress levels. So now I'm kind of in the post kind of period of that where I'm trying to gain that back. So I'm actually going to my second retreat ever in April. So it's been about 5 years.
Get a little refresher.
Yeah, I'm going to Big Bear and doing a 7-day silent retreat there. Really looking forward to it.
I think yurt situation.
Sorry?
Is that like a yurt situation?
What's yurt?
A yurt? Isn't that what they call those huts in the desert where they like they sweat it out?
Got it. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't even look at I took a light look at the picture, but the first time I went, I didn't really know what I was getting into. And I kind of prefer it that way.
Going blind.
I just don't want to have any expectations. Whatever it is, I'm going to deal with it. Like that's part of the challenge, So, yeah.
All right, we have some rapid fire questions to close it out if you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
Biggest pot you've ever won or lost? Your choice.
Oh, man. Biggest pot. I'll talk about session just because it's more interesting, but and it's more relative to kind of financial situation. But when I was in that period where I won 170K and then I lost it over the course of it wasn't a year. I lost it over the course of like 6 to 9 months. I had periods where I literally had 40K left to my name. Mm-hmm. And what do? I jump into 100, 200, 20K buy-in heads up match. That's literally what I was doing like day in, day out. And I just had some of these sessions where I'd lose 40K and I had 60K to my name. Yeah. And you literally felt like you got punched in the stomach. Like I literally that's what it felt like. If you got punched in the stomach and you can't breathe, that's what it feels like. It's awful. Like I can't believe. I don't know why I would do that to myself as a 20-year-old.
Yeah, it's not the size of the loss; it's the percentage of your net worth at the
time. Yeah. So I had a couple sessions like that were insane, and then I had this one session where I jump into a 6 max 50-100 game. I lose about, I think I have like 23K left in my Royal Vegas account. Buy in, lose. I'm down to $2,400. Oh. Everyone leaves the table. There's one guy left who's got 46K at the table. I take all of it, all 46K.
Whoa.
And from this was like the end of my bankroll.
Yeah. What a comeback.
Yeah, and the guy came back like a month later, and like in the chat, I don't know, some guy in the chat, he's like, dude, he's like, you messed me up. Like I haven't played since that day. It's like my first day back. Like my wife was like pissed at me, and like I was like this 21-year-old kid, or probably less than that, probably 20 or 19.
And people were like, you don't know what I've been through.
Yeah, so days like that were like the nastiest pots, so to say. Yeah.
Best swap or piece you've ever had of anybody?
Best swap or piece I've had. I haven't had any like. I had a piece of Mo when he won the Monaco.
The grand final.
The grand final for $2 million. Something. I think it was just like a 1 or 2% piece. I haven't had any like epic pieces.
No one's come through for you that big, huh?
Yeah, most. Yeah. Yeah, I had a piece of Brian Altman. Me and Brian Altman swap regularly, so he's been crushing recently.
Been doing very well.
So just got a nice little 23K check from him.
Nice.
I guess those are pretty nice swaps. Like I have some friends that have got like 6-figure like payouts from like the main event. I guess I'm setting the bar high. But yeah, I've gotten some like 20K kind of scores back then, and yeah.
Who's the best player we've never heard of?
Best player never heard of. I'm probably not a great person to answer that question.
Or was there anybody back in the day, an online guy or somebody in your friends who you thought, this guy's gonna do it, and like for whatever reason
disappeared or something? I can't think of anyone on the spot.
All right,
so I'm gonna pass on that one.
What was your worst job before poker?
So I never had a job before poker. Not
as a teenager, you never flipped burgers or anything?
No, so I was a hustler. So I would just find things to sell and make money. Yeah. I always found a way to make money. I kid you not, when I was in like 4th, 5th grade, my dad, worked in he used to make a computer system. So he'd have these, I don't know if you've seen these magnets, like really strong magnets that are for picking up screws and stuff, strong enough where you could put one magnet in one side of your hand, the other hand, and it would stick.
Yeah.
And kids thought these magnets were so cool, so I would get them for free from my dad's work, and I'd sell them for $5. When I was in then high school, I would go to Ross and TJ Maxx and buy all the FUBU and those type of brands, and you could get them for super, $20, and I would go to school and sell them for $40-$50.
Kids don't know; they just know the FUBU store charges $50.
And I'd wear all the flies gear and have these chains, and make sure I'd look really good, and people oh, where you get that from, and and then I'd go the Figaro chains and the West Side sign, all that shit they used to do. If you're from Cali, you know what I'm talking about. So I used to rock all that stuff, and I would go to the mall. They had these little kiosks where you could buy that stuff. They'd be $65-$80, but what people don't realize, if you could bargain with those guys, and if you buy multiple things, you'll get a really good deal. I know that because I got Pakistani blood, and my family knows how to bargain. So I'd get these things at sometimes 40 to 60% off, and go back and sell them at school. So I think I made around $1,000 just in high school, just selling those things.
You were a flipper.
Yeah, and I guess this was kind of a job. This was an awesome opportunity. So the school I went to was not that great, but luckily we had this one program that was really awesome. It was this business magnet program where the last year in school, we were part of this student-run T-shirt screening business. So basically, we would find people who want T-shirts made, the high school basketball team, your mom's work, whatever, card player, and you'd be hey, we're a school, we want to make T-shirts for you. So we had a graphics design team, a marketing team, a sales team or accounting team, and a production team. We would literally make the T-shirts, screen them ourselves, and go sell them and find clients. So I did that, and I applied to be the head of marketing, and I got that job. So I was the head of marketing in high school for this high school business, which was my first taste of business. I think I made another $1,000 doing that. I did really well. I really enjoyed it. That's where I got my passion for business. Yeah.
All right. What was your largest non-poker wager?
My largest non-poker wager. I'm not too much of a degenerate outside of poker. Do you mean just like gambling?
I mean, prop bet, pit bet, sports bet.
Yeah, so I don't do. I mean, I'm a degenerate in poker a little bit. Like taking shots and that kind of stuff. I've definitely done some like stuff like that where I don't know, maybe have
Too
like
much of your bankroll on the table.
35K myself and like 100K buy-in, that I probably shouldn't be doing. Or like some cash games. I played in this like underground cash game in Mexico City, like, way bigger stakes than I'm comfortable. It's half limit, it's half no limit, half PLO, and it's my second time playing PLO, but I believe the game's good enough that I'm in it. End up losing like, 50, 60K on my birthday.
Oh,
like
man.
Shitty feeling. I'm sure people have way bigger degenerate stories than that.
That's pretty big
and then,
for people listening to this podcast, that's for sure.
And then, yeah, I guess I'm just around some degenerates because the stories that I hear just...
You've been completely desensitized
to
all these swings.
Yeah. So, yeah, some of those, yeah.
What is a talent you don't have that you wish you did?
Talent I don't have that I wish I did? I'd love to be able to play some musical instruments. I never really got taught any of that growing up. I'd love to play piano. I probably will. I plan on learning piano once I kind of am in a situated place.
Yeah, that's not a traveling instrument.
I love singing in the house, but I'm awful. Like I cannot sing for shit. That'd be a fun talent to be able to sing. Yeah, that's about it.
It'd be nice to get up at karaoke and not embarrass yourself,
Yeah.
No, you don't have to be amazing. Just enough to like.
Yeah, more just that it's fun. I see singing as like therapeutic. Not that it's like an important skill I need to have. Just like
You do it in the car by yourself.
Yeah. With my friends, I'll sing.
Headphones on at the table? Yes or no?
Generally, no. 90% of the time, because I think there's a lot of information that you want to know. I want to know who's pissed off. I want to know who's whispering under their breath. I want to know people reveal their strategy. People just reveal way too much about themselves at the table.
Yeah.
I want to get all that information. Once in a while, if I feel like for whatever reason music is going to put me in a better focus, then I will throw on headphones. I typically will listen to classical music or anything else without lyrics because I love lyrics. Like I said, I used to write rap lyrics and write poetry, so I pay too much attention to lyrics. I need to have, so when I'm grinding online, like Sundays, that type of thing, like I'll throw on some instrumental stuff,
Do you have a favorite album or favorite movie?
Favorite album or favorite movie? So some of my favorite albums, what's it called? Talib Kweli featuring High Tech. What's the name of that album?
I have the internet in front of me.
Reflection Eternal. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, Reflection Eternal, definitely one of my favorite albums. I'd say that's probably my favorite album. Yeah.
That one gets the repeat listens.
Yeah.
What about movie?
Favorite movie. It used to be Memento.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan.
Yeah,
so.
it's really cool watching movies again when you're an adult because you just like realize you weren't like even intelligent enough to like understand half the movie. I'd go with Memento.
Do you have a celebrity doppelganger or someone people told you look like growing up?
No. I remember there was always this character on. Oh no. No, I some people have like tweeted at me that you look like some character from this TV show, but no, I don't really watch a lot of TV and stuff, so I don't know a lot of celebrities. Like I'll end up playing poker with like famous people, and I don't even know who they are. Like
yeah.
Do
you have a famous person? Who's the highest ranking celebrity you've played with?
Well, I played with. Speaking of biggest pot, I lost this up there. I played with what's his name, the comedian that plays a lot of poker.
Kevin Hart?
Yeah, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
So I played with Kevin Hart in the PokerStars, I don't know what it was called, Big Game or something. Mm-hmm. He was awesome. He was super nice dude, very genuine. Played with Nelly back in the day. Like he used to play a lot of 1020, the Bellagio.
Yeah, Nelly. He even performed at a PokerStars party once.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some other people I'm forgetting, but that was a really cool experience because, like, I remember, I'm just like 20-year-old kid, like playing at the Bellagio, and I'm like, there's Nelly here, there's like this government guy here, there's like this accountant here, there's college student, like athletes. Like, where do you ever get this mix of people like hanging out? And that is what makes poker so damn cool.
Yeah. You get some bad, but you get a lot of good too.
Yeah.
We end the podcast the same way every time with a question from the random question generator. You ready?
Yep.
All right. If you knew the world was ending in 2012, no, this is an old website. Let's do that one again. I like that
question, but it's got to be 2020.
All right. If you were immortal for a day, what would you do?
Oh, so I can't die?
Yeah. And let's assume you also can't sustain any long-term damage.
Oh, man. I've
you
always
can walk through fire. You can walk underwater.
I've always wanted to go travel through Congo, like see some of these areas that are just like I've looked into going into Congo, and I've met like people who've done it, and it's a lot of effort. Like you have to find like high trust local connections that can get you through each border. You have to be prepared with enough items to bribe each security guard through each thing.
Yeah.
And you still never know that at some point, like, you just might get ambushed and robbed and kidnapped and killed. And but like I'm
seems
just
like a good time to use your immortality.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that type of traveling, like just going the road less traveled and see. Because there's just this interesting, like humans all over the world, like we are the same. Like I passionately believe that. But people just have these like, such like racist, I mean race is more about the race, but just like.
Xenophobic and.
Yeah, just ways of looking at other people, not really understanding that their environment is different. And I guarantee you, if I throw your ass, who's whatever, like vegan, recycling, like doing all these like perfect shit, and I throw you in some of these environments, like you're going to be hustling, you might be robbing, you might be stealing, you're going to do what you have to do to survive. And so I'm really passionate about kind of going to places and understanding people and talking to them and really like understanding their world. That's really made me a more like well-rounded person and more understandable person, like just traveling and meeting like different cultures like that.
I know you said in other interviews before that you didn't stay in fancy hotels when you were doing this. You'd stay with strangers and in random rural parts of the non-touristy cities. Is there any part of this world that is still on your bucket list?
Well, to clarify, I do stay at fancy places, but I do both.
Yeah,
like super polarized. Like I'll go from like 4-star hotel to the retreat, or like friend's couch or whatever. Like I like experiencing both. You know what I mean? Because both are awesome. They give you perspective, and it's nice to be comfortable. Sure. Any place? Yeah, Ethiopia.
There's no spiders in this 5-star hotel.
Ethiopia. I really want to go to Ethiopia. I want to go there because, so in Vegas, I meet a lot of Ethiopian taxi drivers, and then I ended up going to some Ethiopian restaurants here. The food is amazing. Every single Ethiopian person is like the nicest person I've ever met. It's just something I've noticed. So I was in London one time. I was eating by myself at an Ethiopian restaurant, and I see an Ethiopian man eating by himself, and we start talking. And I ask him, I'm like, dude, what is it about your people? Like, I'm not just saying this because we're in an Ethiopian restaurant. Like, literally, you're the only culture I noticed about. You're the nicest people ever. Like, what is it? Why is that? Why would you say that? And he started laughing, and he was like, it's funny, like, living in this Western culture, he was talking about London, is sometimes hard for me. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And he's like, well, he said, back home, I will give you an example. He said, every day at like 2 or 3 p.m. or something, like these bells ring, and everyone kind of goes home to their family and has, lunch, and then they do this like drug as in like a coffee type thing, like some leaf or something that gives you energy. And he was saying, like, even if you cannot make it to your home because your home's far, everybody's door is open. Like all the neighbors and everything, everyone's doors open. Everyone walks into whoever's house. Like it's all just, everyone's just family.
Yeah.
And he said here, like I go into the apartment and everyone's doors closed. Like I don't even see the neighbors. Like we don't talk.
Exactly.
And then when we see them, it's like weird because we don't know each other. And it's just like a different world the way he described it. And that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, when I've read a lot of studies of what makes the happiest people and the people that live the longest, and it's a lot of like community and family and friendship, and you know, that stuff's very important. So I'd love to experience that in Ethiopia. If I do that trip, I want to go with someone who kind of knows what they're doing. Like I always think, people ask me, what are the best trips? Like, where should I go? You've traveled everywhere. It's not about the best place. It's about going where you have a local contact that can give you that amazing experience. For sure. I'd rather go. Some of my best trips have been places that you've never heard of, that I'd never heard of, but I had a local contact that knew what's up.
I mean, even here in Vegas, people ask me, oh, what should I do? I'm like, I don't know, get a friend who you have fun with and have them show you, because the stuff I like, who knows, you know? Anyway, Ethiopia, that sounds like the way to go. Thank you, Faraz, for coming on the podcast and sharing the stories. That's it. That is the show. Thank you so much to Faraz for coming on the show and sharing the stories. Don't forget, you can learn from Faraz directly by heading to pokercoaching.com/Faraz. You can check out his website, farazjaka.com, or follow him on Twitter @Faraz Jaka. You can also follow us on Twitter @CardPlayerMedia or @Poker_Stories. As always, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you do us the favor of leaving a nice rating and a review, let us know about it with an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com, and we'll give you a free digital subscription to Card Player Magazine. Thanks for listening.